Welcome to The Divide with Mike and Corey.
Hopefully our disagreements one day bring us all together.
So stupid. So corny and so stupid. I hope our disagreements bring us together.
Yeah, I do.
Shut up, Porter! Hey, I'm just trying to have a friendly conversation.
This is The Divide.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. Just a slight difference with the new theme song, and then yeah, man, we're
Almost
back.
unrecognizable.
It is.
Yeah.
If you're listening, hopefully we sound great. But if you're watching the new studio, now this is why we've been taking. I was this 3 weeks off now. Well, we did a couch podcast a couple weeks ago.
We did.
But I think it's been like a 2-week hiatus still. So we've been taking a couple weeks off. The studio is not finished yet. There's still a lot that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But dude, guys, look at this. It's like a brand new. It's like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me when like, you know, one day you're grown up and you're like, I'm going to take all the kid things out of my room and make like a grown up bedroom.
Yeah.
That's like what we did.
That's exactly what we did. There's no Nick. Well, they'll probably come back, so I don't want to talk about.
Oh no, like the sports stuff will absolutely come back. Like
some
the
of it,
shelves
not-
are empty right now.
Yeah,
But
the cupboard's bare.
yeah, exactly.
But it's like when you first move into a house and all you got is the folding chairs.
Dude,
like that's
yeah.
kind of where we're at right now.
yeah, no,
You know?
But still, man, when I walked down here, I was like, no. And then you guys can't see this, but there's like a legit like looking glass. There's like a window into the studio, a door. We can shut the blinds now. We can block out all the haters if we want. This is perfect, man.
It's great.
This is what we've been working toward. And I told you I wore this to give us a shot, the very first T-shirt you created, and I was like, man, dude, that was how many years ago? And like now this is episode whatever of The Divide, which was
Right.
that wasn't even the first show on the network. So this is huge, man. And we got this big news table. I can look at you when I talk to you now.
It's so
Well,
weird.
can
I
tell
don't
you
know
that.
where to look. like,
It's
I'm
like, you're like Ricky Bobby. I don't know where to put my hands.
yeah. And we got Germ behind the scenes.
Yeah, Germ's here too. It took a little bit to get going. Normally, I did my usual sit in the chair and wait for Mike to figure out all the sound and stuff. But we had to, and I say we, I mean Mike completely broke down the studio. And he had to, of course, all the electrical equipment and stuff had to go. So we set that up, and then the computer had to update for 37 hours. And then the audio wasn't working right. And then the lighting it was a little bit so we're a little bit later than we need to be. We understand the Yankees are playing right now, but listen, don't worry about it. They're getting crushed. The Rangers are playing right now. I think it's the end of the first, and it's still, nothing. We would hope it's nothing. Basketball's taking a day off. There's no football. So, hopefully you'll take some time and tune in to us, but don't forget, you can always listen to us later, on all of our platforms. Nevertheless, let's get into it. It's been a couple weeks, but let's just kind of get into a quick tri-state rundown of what's going on in baseball right now. And I want to start with the place that neither of us are fans of, and that's Philly.
Right.
So Philly last Friday made the decision to get Joe Girardi out of there. And I think everybody can speak for Philly when we say how happy we are. And it's funny. So we'll tell you there's a golf story that we need to. Mike and I hit the driving range in the meantime,
Right.
In the last couple weeks. So we have a funny story about that. But long story short, you'll find out why later, but I had to buy a new driver. And I went and picked that up today at a store in Pennsylvania. So obviously a lot of Philly fans.
Right.
And the cashier was streaming the game today on her phone. And she straight up said, she's like, I'm actually interested in Philly baseball again.
Wow.
Because she couldn't stand Girardi. They're on a 7-game win streak. All right. Thompson, the replacement manager who should have got a shot at the job when they hired Girardi in the first place, is now got these guys in the clubhouse to win 7 straight. Everybody's hitting. They have some offense. Didi hit 3 today. Bryce Harper, my doppelganger, had 2 and I think 1 home run.
Yeah.
So it was a good win today, especially because it was a tight game in the beginning. But this 7-game win streak that Philly is excited about might come to an end soon. And because here's the thing. They fired Girardi. at the last game they played when they played the Padres. And the Padres is a pretty tough team. The Mets are experiencing that right now.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they won the last game of that series. The Padres took 2 out of them.
Right.
And they played L.A. And the Angels, even though they have 2 of the best players in baseball, they're having a tough go at it. Who just fired Steve Madden.
Right.
Steve Madden. John Madden.
Joe.
No, Joe Madden. Jesus, I'm getting from shoes to football to baseball. Sorry. They fired Joe Madden recently, 2 days ago. So they're going through it after a 12-game loss. And now they're on to the Milwaukee Brewers, where they beat them, but that's another 500 ball club. So is Philly changing? Like, are they really turning around to be this team that they should have been all of last year and now into this year? They're still how many games back from first?
Yeah, 7.
7 games back from first. But is this just a scheduling thing to where, you know, they got off light and it just happened to be the perfect time to make a transition? Or are they turning into that ball club? Should the Mets be worried?
No, yes and no. Here's why. Like, the Braves and the Phillies were both dead to rights, right? Mm-hmm. Now that you've seen them both start to surge, it's concerning because what was a big lead is now like down to 7. But you know, you can mess around. If we're gonna take a 10-game losing streak, yeah, that's terrifying because all of a sudden it's too early in the season for you to be excited and comfortable with a 7-game lead. To be frank, like, you know what I mean? It's not I'd rather have a 7-game lead than win 7 in a row. And now, you know, there's eventually you're going to have a 10-game losing streak. Eventually every team's going to have a 10-game winning streak. So it is exciting to see how well those 2 teams are playing and for us to hold serve. But with that said, if you're looking at everything that's gone on in the Mets universe, it's kind of concerning lately. You had Pete, luckily isn't injured. You had Marte, luckily isn't too injured. Right. You had Lindor get his hand stuck in the door. Could have been his head. And then you had Max get bit by his dog. So, I mean, it's the Mets are starting to Mets a little bit. And it's luckily it hasn't affected the product on the field yet. And Buck has done a great job of navigating through that. Like you said, we lost to San Diego. We were able to take the first game, which the Mets thought that they probably wouldn't because of the simple fact that they didn't get a day's rest and all this other stuff. So West Coast is annoying because for me, the games don't start until 9:40. So
dude, I haven't even put money on them because it's like I don't want to put money on something and just go to sleep.
Right.
Like, with the exception of 2 days ago when I did do a little tri-state parlay. And the Mets were the one team that ruined it for me, but that's besides the point. Right. So the Mets dropped their last 2, and like you said, they're battling injuries. Some of them are stupid and almost poetic for the Mets, but they're still, they're still producing on the field. The one thing I want to bring up before we talk about the Yankees that are kicking a can right now is the one thing I want to look out for with Philly that piqued my interest is out of the last 7 wins. They're scoring 6 or more runs, so they're producing. Either way, they're bringing runs in. They're bringing runs to home plate. So that's one thing. And it's not like they're facing all bums. They're just finding a way to produce. Now you have the Yankees. They dropped one last night against the Twins. They won their first game against the Twins in this series, and it looks like they're probably going to drop this game. Cole started pitching. They're down 7-3 right now at the end of the 3rd, so unless they can really turn it around and get some big bats, I don't see the Yankees climbing back. Anything's possible, but you never know. So it looks like where the night is headed is they're going to drop another one against the Twins. That'll bring their record to 40-17. Boo-hoo. How can you cry about something like that? Right. But you're not going to win them all. Mets are sitting there at 38-21. And, of course, Philly, like we said, 7 games out of first. They're a little bit above 500 at this point, I think. I
was told by my buddy Matt, who has an amazing Till Mets Do Us Part podcast, and I listen all the time, and he told me to relax. But like I would love to relax, but I lived through 2007, 2008. It doesn't seem as though Cespedes with his bore.
I don't think it's safe to relax at any point. And that's what gets everybody in trouble is okay. Right. There have been years where the Mets have been in first up into the All-Star break and then take a nosedive.
Last year.
Yeah.
Last year. We're in August. We're meaningful baseball.
Right.
Like we're in Philadelphia talking to the members of the 7 line.
That's right.
And we're talking about meaningful baseball. And that was the last meaningful game. It was August 7th
and then
of
they
last
just
year.
jumped off a cliff with no parachute.
But the other issue is like that's cool. A week ago we were talking about we had a crazy big lead, right? But now 7 games, like if I'm any of these teams, if I'm the Braves, I'm the Phillies, I'm not out of this. Also, the playoffs, there's more teams than ever that get in, so it doesn't even matter.
Well, that's true too, and
to get the
like you said,
like
7
that.
games
I mean,
is
it
7
matters,
games. Like 2 weeks, a team can chip away at that. You can still win 3 or 4 games, and in 2 weeks, and you can only be 3 games ahead. So, depending on what the other teams do, I mean, you can drop some and you can win some. Depending, you figure 4 games a week. So let's say you win 50% of the games in 2 weeks, and the other teams goes on another 6-game streak. You're only 3 games ahead at that point.
Also, the other 3, so the 3 wild card teams get in, and then the worst 2. Yeah, no, how does it go? 3 wild cards get in, and then the worst division record gets put in that pool. So then they play. So you're also kind of competing to not be the lowest record of all the different divisions.
That's pretty much. It's pretty much like the new wild card is now the old wild card is playing the new wild cards. If you kind of look at it like that, which is confusing.
No, because now you get it's actually you can win your division and still be put in that pool from what I understand. Yeah. So that's a concern too. But
I kind of like that though, because that's a like. I equate it to football. Like, it's so dumb you can have a 500 or less record, win your division if you're in a weak division, and still make the playoffs. You know what I mean? So even if you win your division, if it's a weaker division, you should have to play some wild card teams to see if you're worthy, so to speak. But yeah, that's Joe Madden got ripped, and he's not a bad manager. He's just you lose LA, and this is always the big argument. The Angels have had arguably the best player in baseball for the last how many years?
Two of them,
and they don't do anything. Yeah, you got Ohtani and Trout, and you don't do anything.
Right.
There's literally no run, no competition, so to speak. So you got to figure out what's going on. And Joe Madden's no bum. I mean, he's a 2-time World Series champ, one as a coach, one as a manager with the Rays, and he brought the Cubs there. Well, not just him; it was the players that did it. But he was there when the Cubs won their first World Series in over 100 years. So, will they figure it out? No. I mean, it's not happening. They didn't have the Philly experiment where they fired their manager and all of a sudden they started winning. It's just they're just not firing this, and they're also riddled with injury too. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, this is why people play the sport. A guy gets hurt, you hope the next person steps up and actually produces.
Which is also kind of good, because you never want to see a manager. Well, I guess if it's your team, you want to see your manager get fired and then the team just starts clicking on all cylinders. But for all the other managers that are in the league that are struggling right now, they don't want to see this pattern where, oh my God, look, so imagine if the Angels went on a tear right after. You'd have 2 sample sizes of a team firing their manager and then just blowing it out the water. Next thing you know, Jobs are just firing managers to get a bump in sales and stuff and stuff like that.
That shows the 2 different managing styles of Madden and Girardi. Girardi's not a clubhouse guy. He's a guy that looks through his binder and that's it. He's all about stats and pitching matchups, and he could care less about how guys feel and asking the players questions, and that was evident, and you can tell there's a complete change in that clubhouse. Whereas the Angels, on the other hand, they just can't put it together, and it doesn't matter who's at the helm of all this. It's just like you said, you have that, and then some managers are kind of wiping the sweat off their brow. Finally, that that cycle of, hey, let's get fired, and now all of a sudden your team is good.
Matt wants me to is letting us know that the Mets no longer have the Wilpon syndrome, so we don't have to worry about that when it comes to all these issues, because we have an owner now that's able to do what is needed to be done to win. And I agree with that too. Like, and to not to harp on the Angels situation, but they fired their GM, and that was a new GM that was in, and he didn't hire Madden. So obviously that wasn't his hire. So I think he was looking for an opportunity to get rid of him.
Of course.
So and unfortunately the Angels gave it to him, because if you remember with the whole Noah Syndergaard New York Mets issue, Noah was saying, hey, we both have really successful teams. And that just goes to show, like, I mean, that's drastic that they've lost 14 or whatever.
12.
But, yeah, but now I don't want to be playing them.
Or actually, no, it was 12 when Madden got fired. So now it is 14.
Well, it could be a few more now. But I don't want to play it.
Now.
It's 14
it
right
is 14.
now, right?
Thank you.
That's cool. Don't ever correct me again. All right, Corey? I built this studio with my bare hands. I'll take it down.
Whatever, dude. I admitted. I immediately, my brain was like, no, that's not right. And then I admitted.
You're the one with all the notes. I just.
These are just drawings of different penises. That's all this is right here. I can't. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Matt in the comment section says the place looks great. So good job, guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like I said, we're still moving in, but we're itching, and we wanted to get in
bro,
here.
I'm sorry, dude. Like, you put a couch in that corner.
Yeah.
Relax a little bit. This is just a good space for anybody that wants to come by and do the show with us, really.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. There's like you said, there's a bar you could sit and watch.
We need a disco ball.
It's the Divide Live in front of a live studio audience.
Hey, I made a mistake. I said this is like when you like clean your room and grow up and stuff. I think we need to bring it back. I want a black light. I want some black light posters.
God.
I want a lava lamp. I want to bring the
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I do not.
The 90s are coming back. I think I need something to burn incense.
And knowing some of the people in this network, I do not want a black light in this room.
Actually, scratch the black light.
Right.
That's gonna be a little.
I spent a long weekend there last May. You don't want to.
You did, and you just said like this.
Corners of that basement is not good.
Yeah, we were down here. He's like, man, I could get in trouble down here. Like, you could just spend hours, and we did.
We did.
Like,
it's been almost 3 hours that we've been down here.
Yeah,
We're
we
only
tried
some of it.
Yeah, Corey got here around 6. We tried to get on early. Like, obviously, we ran into difficulties. We tried to do multi-camera angles, so I don't even know if that works. But there
it is.
That's me. That's me.
You.
Oh my God. Yeah, so that thing works, and we're just playing around down here. Like, honestly, it's our first.
We're just a bunch of kids with a new toy.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's kind of cool, and we're excited, and we just wanted to get out there in the world and kind of get our stuff going.
I know. So with the excitement, of course, every project costs money. So we're hoping to get some new sponsors in the works, but we've been gambling a lot, and by we I mean me. I've been gambling a lot. I can't stop. But I won. So, all right. So let's get into the golf story now. So Mike and I haven't yet to get out to play a round of golf because life and kids and all that other stuff. So the one compromise was I was leaving work one day and I called him. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He said, nothing. So I said, good. There's a driving range around the corner from our house. Now, I've been to this driving range a couple times this year. This was Mike's first time. For some reason, they have a section, like it's a 2-level driving range. So there's an upstairs, but that upstairs is never open. It's always like roped and coned off. And then the covered part of it, and then they have like in the sun, they have hitting mats like outside in the elements. So we did this last Friday. It was a little hot. I worked all day. I was in the sun. So I was like, I got there first. All the bays were taken except for the last one. And then there was like a barricade up and there was like 4 more bays, but clearly they didn't want anybody to go over there. They had it marked off. We didn't know the reason. I found out the reason a little bit later, but we didn't know at the time. I told you this information just to tell you that the time I was there before that, it was just me. Nobody else was at the driving range. And then a guy walked past these barricades and just started hitting balls. So I was like, oh, the barricades are up, but it doesn't matter because you can go wherever you want. Mm-hmm. So bring it back to Friday. All the bays are full. They really weren't. There wasn't 2 bays together. So me and Mike couldn't talk and hit golf balls at the same time. So I was like, all right, I went to the end. Mike got there. I was like, dude, ignore this barricade. Just come over on this side. Mike was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, dude, you're fine. Nobody cares.
Who cares?
Someone cared. So what happened, we're hitting golf balls. We're there for like a half hour. Nobody says anything to us. There's like 4 other guys there that are just hitting golf balls. And the guy that drives the little golf ball picker-upper thing, like the big comb that they kind of get the golf balls with, comes over. And in hindsight, for him, it would have been a better approach if yes, we were completely in the wrong. But he came out like guns blazing.
Yeah.
He came out and said, "Excuse me." So we look up, and he said, "Is there any reason you're hitting golf balls past the barricade?"
Right.
Which, dude, you're not going to get the answer you want. Of course there's a reason. You're not going to like the reason. Like, the real reason is I want to hit golf balls next to my friend, and we did this anyway because no one was there to stop us.
Right.
But we're not going to tell you that. So, of course, we think quick, and we're like, oh, that's because all the bays were full, and this was the only one available. And he's like, well, what about outside? We're like, well, we don't want to hit golf balls outside. And then he does this. He goes, well, if you ask me, a part of playing golf is about being outside. So we're at this point, we're like, hey, that's cool, man. That's personal preference. We just don't want to hit golf balls outside. So like, he's trying to argue with us, but we're just like, hey, no, that's not what we want, but thanks for the suggestion. So then he goes, well, what about upstairs? Why don't you guys go upstairs? We're like, oh, that's a great idea.
No, you asked, is upstairs open?
No, he said, well,
and he was like,
goes, well, why didn't? Well, that's what he said. He goes,
Right.
well, why didn't you go upstairs? And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's awesome. Is upstairs open? Because it's always roped off. And then he goes, oh, I'll open it for you. But like, he didn't say it like happy. He was like, I'll open it for
he
you.
was mad.
So we were like, oh my God, you would do that for us? Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Like, we were just he was trying to argue with us, and we were mind you, we're 100% in the wrong. So then he like mumbles stuff under his breath about rules and this and that. And I get why you're mad. He probably has to tell people to get off that area like 8 times a day. But it's a much better approach if he would have just came over and be like, hey guys, look, I don't know if these were all full when you got here, but we really can't have anybody over here. And this is why. And explain the reason. I later found out it's because like that side of the driving range turns into a swamp after it rains, and they have a problem getting golf balls back.
Right.
Which I understand. I'm sure there was a reason there's a barricade. So we were I was kind of a jerk, and whatever. We went upstairs, we hit golf balls, but that guy just came over guns blazing and kind of pissed us off.
I was in such a good mood because of everything that's going on with our pod and stuff that I honestly, I didn't care. So I was just
I didn't care. I was just mad.
He was so
I was more
angry
mad that he walked away, because he walked away mumbling, and I wanted to so much be like, you have something to say? Because it's like, I know I'm in the wrong here, but if you really have a problem, just tell me you have a problem. Don't walk away like a kid.
No, I agree.
After a fight that we started for no reason. That poor guy was probably having a great Friday, dude. And we just ruined it. He went home. He told his wife, "Oh, my day was great until these guys didn't follow the rules."
The only thing I will say is, like, I waited an insurmountable time to get my bucket.
That's true. You got there a while, and you were like, "Hey, where's the guy to give us the golf balls?" I'm like, "He's not behind the desk," and you're like, "No."
And then, but he was off to the side. So, like, eventually he finally saw me in the window.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. No one cares that works at that place except for the guy that yelled at us.
Yeah. It was
Maybe
nuts.
that's why he's mad too. Like, you know what it's like to work at a job when you're the only one that cares. All right. So I told you this story to tell you the next story. Yesterday, Rebecca, my wife, was like, hey, let's go hit golf balls. Like, that's a great idea. Now, since this is a double-decker driving range, there's support poles supporting the upper deck. Now, and if you checked our story yesterday, you'll know, and we tagged the Swing It and Ding It guys, I'm a lefty. Mike is also a lefty. One thing that I will now check from now on is to make sure that the hitting mat, which is the thing you hit off of at a driving range, is centered in the bay that you pick. Because the particular bay that I chose had a support pole behind me because I line up lefty. But what I didn't check is to make sure the mat was centered, because in my backswing for longer clubs, like let's say a driver, when you get up to your backswing, you can hit that support pole with your driver and put a pretty big dent in it, which is exactly what I did. So I hit my irons fine. I dinged it. I didn't get to swing it, but I dinged it. So I hit my irons fine, man. I was crushing them. It was great. And then I broke out the driver, and I had my backswing, which I don't even have a quick backswing. And I just, boom, it hit the pole, and that was the karma. That was karma coming back around for us messing with that dude the week before. So I had to go purchase another driver today, and that's why I picked that up, which was great.
That's great.
But I told you this story to tell you another story is the reason I was so quick to just buy a driver and I wasn't too upset about it because I've been betting like a maniac and I've been winning, specifically on the Yankees, which isn't going to happen tonight. So tonight I bet the Yankees money line and I mix that in with a parlay for Judge to hit a home run and Rizzo to hit an RBI. Now Rizzo can still hit an RBI, Judge can still hit a home run, but I doubt the Yankees win, so I'm going to lose that.
Right. Also, like I want to. The struggle is real for lefty golfers. Like nobody ever understands that unless you are a lefty. Like we got to move the tees around.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to move the mat. You got to move the ball, like little trough. It's annoying as a lefty, but what's not annoying is, like you said, like we've had much more luck gambling on baseball than we ever had on football.
Oh my god, dude! Football, we're like
I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah,
right.
So
baseball, we've been really lucky. I've been 50-50 with hockey in the regular season. I didn't touch the Rangers last game, which was the second game in Tampa. I bet them the first game, and they lost. I bet them in the over, and they ended up losing. The under came in, and they ended up Tampa Bay ended up losing. I didn't touch the game tonight just because I really think the Rangers are out of gas. They had 2 series before that went to 7 games. Now they're playing a tough Tampa Bay team, and the last game they did not look like they had it together. And honestly, I'm not confident in them at all. So I didn't touch them as far as gambling goes. It's the second period, 16 minutes left. It's still nothing. I don't know. I think if the Rangers squeak out a win tonight, they squeak it out. We're talking like a 1 or 2-0 game, or a 2-1 game, but I don't foresee them getting enough energy to either A, beat Tampa, or if they beat Tampa, there's no way they're beating the Avs.
I know.
Colorado swept Edmonton. They have plenty of rest. The Rangers, I would like to see them do it, but I just don't see it.
It's like that video game where you just beat the boss, but you only have like that much power left,
Dude,
and you
that's what
get
it
to
is.
go to the next board, and the first person with like a throwing star, you're out. It was Double Dragon, right?
Bro,
Yeah.
It's not going to be good. It's not. And then even if you look at the NBA, if you're a betting individual, I would bet all my money on Golden State. Golden State has never lost in the playoffs, and then they've never had back-to-back losses in the playoffs, regardless on where they play. So they're kind of like the New England Patriots of basketball in a sense, to where if they get beat, the next game they're destroying that, and that's what they did the last time. Boston went up 1-0 on the series. Golden State destroyed them by like 20 points the very next game, and then they're in Boston for 2 games. Boston won the game last night. And now Golden State's going to come back and just destroy them. I know they are, which good for Boston for hanging. I thought for sure it was Golden State in 5. In fact, we talked about that in our group text.
Yeah.
Ty was pretty persistent. He said Golden State in 4, but was it? No, I think he said 5. I think he gave Boston 1 game out of respect. That's what it was.
That was me. Definitely.
Oh, that was Germ.
Yes.
That's what it was. Germ, you gave Boston 1 game out of respect, and I said, what did I? Oh, Germ versus respect. I'll take Germ every time. That's what I said.
Yeah, and I know that Boston now has 2 games, and still they'll somehow lose in 5. I don't know how. In some magical.
They're gonna lose so bad the next time. They're just gonna bring it back
away
to
the game they won, and be like, nah, you guys can't get an
Count
extra
it.
game. Count it. No count.
I give them credit, man. They're a young team, and it's scary. People are really thinking that they're tipping the scale here on that, but Golden State's still Golden State.
I don't. Yeah, the fact that I don't know. I think it goes to show how badly both Philly and Brooklyn ruined their teams this year, morale wise, and just like the whole there was so much drama around both teams. That
the media had a lot to do with that.
Well,
I mean, the
that
media
always
sucks
happens
in the tri-state area. It's just
it's terrible. Like
ruins everything.
Yeah, they should let us fix it.
I wish. Get me on the media in the tri-state area. I will fix it every time.
Right. But look, there was a lot of, you had Ben Simmons fiasco on Sixers side, and then we had Kyrie and all the COVID nonsense, and some not his fault, some his fault, some whatever you think, it was nonsense. But the fact that then they decided to trade said players, well, no, obviously Kyrie stayed with us, but we got Ben, and it just
God.
it just for me it just it made both teams worse. Like it seemed like it was gonna Harden going to the Sixers made it seem like, oh wow, like now they're gonna win. You know what I mean? And Brooklyn didn't mind the trade in the beginning, but Ben Simmons does. And now Castellanos for the Phillies has Ben Simmons' house.
Oh my God!
And he's batting 199, and
always at the perfect moment too,
dude. It's he can hit a home run when they're talking about somebody dying, any tragic event, and he
Castellanos is all over it.
He did it on Memorial Day. Shout outs to we paid our respects on Memorial Day. We didn't post anything. We just remembered the ones we lost and stuff like that. But Castellanos had different ideas. So when the Phillies were announcing this golden chair that they were going to have, nobody would sit there, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And to commemorate all the military men and women that we've lost in this country, Castellanos decides to
hit a home run. So they got to interrupt their whole spiel then. Yeah. I love it, man. I don't know. I love it. I think that's great.
I also love that when last time he was in Citi Field, the Mets clowned him because he hasn't hit a deep fly ball to left field all year. So like, here's a fun fact: like there has not been many deep fly balls to left field from Castellanos. So it's been crazy. I just can't believe that house has housed two all-stars and. They both are never performed.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well,
so
par for the course, if you ask me.
No.
Well,
all right.
Let's stay on Philly for 1 second.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper just achieved Philly first, a milestone, if you will. He is the first player in Philly's franchise history with both a walk-off grand slam and a game-time grand slam in their career. My question is, do you think Bryce Harper finally has earned the contract he was given? Like, he's a legit superstar, right? Like, Philly fans shouldn't be complaining about him any longer, right?
The biggest thing that Philly right now is marketing, the fact that he was a MVP last year, so they do the MV3 for his number. I think it's annoying when I have to watch their broadcast, but that's just me. I'd be proud. Like, I can't wait to call Pete Alonso MVP, you know? So, yeah. I think so. I think that maybe this is a wake-up call, like losing your manager. I know players get bummed out about that crap. So, he's walked the walk for the last 7 games for sure. But with that said, like, I don't know.
This is year 2 for him, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Year 2, he won MVP last year, even with the Phillies not having a great season. So I don't think there was any room to complain about him before. I think,
no.
I mean, I always do because I can't stand him, to be honest with you. But he's a great ball player. I mean, it's like when you hate Tom Brady, you hate him, but you can't deny his skill.
No.
But he's not the sole reason for why the Phillies had a losing season. Or it's not solely just him. I think as a whole, Philly fans right now don't have any room to complain. I think you got rid of the manager that you hate. I think your team's actually producing runs. I don't think there's any room to complain about at all. I think you just need to give it a month, play some not real team, but play some challenging teams and see how your team overcomes that. See what happens when Philly has to play someone with a winning record, if they can kind of rise above that. And then we'll figure out what the fan base wants to do.
Yeah, so this is his 4th year, actually. So 2020, if you count that, it was 50 games.
I don't. That's like
so yeah, so he's like 2.5 years into that contract. But
4 years already?
But he's way above like his normal regular season averages. So he averages for a career 281. He's over 308 right now. He's having an outstanding year, 15 home runs already. Like, he's on pace for at least 40.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that Bryce is doing. But yeah, like Reese, Kyle Schwarber just needs to show up, eat hot dogs, and hit dingers. I mean, it's like he's a beer league softball type player, and he hasn't been able to do that. Like, when I looked at this lineup as a Met fan, I was worried. Like, there's a lot of offense in that baby ballpark. So I was like, okay, they're going to hit a ton of home runs. But the good news is the team they're facing is going to hit a ton of home runs, and it just hasn't gone their way. They've lost games the way people should not be able to lose games. They have done some incredible feats. I mean, they came back on us, on the Mets. It was like 5-2 or 5-1. They came back, they won the game. So they've had some excitable moments, but they just haven't amounted to anything. You know what I mean? So long story short, yes, Bryce is worth his weight because of the way the fan base has appreciated him. He's turned into Philly. I keep forgetting that he was a Nat for so long. And now, like, when I think of him as a Nat, I think of him as a Philly guy that was a national, you know?
And the other thing is Bryce is going to produce just better if everybody in the lineup starts hitting. You have 6 guys out of your lineup right now that's batting over 230, and that helps when you figure out that you can't just pitch around one guy and be good anymore. You got to start pitching them more. Then I think that's what they're going to wear pitchers down, and that's where the bulk of their hits are going to come from. And that's exactly what happened today. I mean, there's guys just on the lineup today I'm looking at, that they're batting their weight and then some, and they're not just all big bats. These are guys that can put the ball wherever they want. So like Mike said, the lineup on paper does look scary, and if they can hold on to this, man, we might not have to talk a lot of trash about Philly, which I love talking trash about Philly. There's nothing better than it, in my opinion. But so we have exciting news. So let's do this. First of all, it's been forever, so I have to shout out Fast Break Coffee. That's what you see us on our official, this brand new table. We've been drinking Fast Break Coffee. This is what carried us through the sound issues. Check out fastbreakcoffee.com for any blend that you might need, guys. It's the last coffee you will ever buy, not because you're going to die some sort of abrupt death, but only because you're never going to turn to another coffee company again. And then they send you a lot of coffee too. Summer's coming up. Kids are off of school. You're going to need the energy when you're running around with them. Check out fastbreakcoffee.com. And that, like I said, man, it's the last coffee you're ever going to need to buy. And they send you a whole pound of coffee.
Yeah.
Come on. How can you even compete with that?
I was off the other day, and my wife gave me some Fast Break when I first woke up. She greeted me right to it, and it honestly, it made my day better.
Yeah.
So, Fast Break Coffee, keeping people together.
Listen, guys, it's gore. I hate it because everything's gourmet now. Like you they have like a gourmet food truck, which is so dumb to me. Like you can't use gourmet and food truck in the same sentence.
Right.
You can have a good food truck, but don't tell me it's gourmet.
Right.
But this is really gourmet standard coffee. It's made with the right. It's made the right way. There's no random chemicals in it or anything like that. It's all natural, none of that artificial stuff. So check out fastbreakcoffee.com. And then let's get to the exciting news part of tonight.
Breaking news, would you say? The Vibe breaking news. Here with your hosts, Mike and Corey.
Okay, we're back. That's like the news pause, like when they cover the guy. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm Corey.
And I'm Mike.
Oh, there we go. I can never be a news anchor on camera. I would just, how they all, because they sit propped up in their chair.
Yeah.
I would be like back. I would totally be leaning back. Like, what happened? A guy was shot? Is he all right? Okay. All right. Sounds good. No, breaking news. We have something fun that we're officially a part of. The announcement came last week. If you checked out our story, you know exactly what we're talking about. And that is the celebrity beer pong event on the 30th of July with Todd Frazier and friends. So Todd Frazier set up this celebrity beer pong event. Celebrities are joining as we speak. We don't have the whole list yet, but we know Nikki Cass is going to be there. Frankie Edgar is going to be there with Todd Frazier, and they keep adding to the list. We were lucky enough to do the to get a chance to do the play-by-play. Todd called us up, told us about the event. We said we're there. We'll whatever you need, we'll be able to support you. And we kind of weaseled our way into it, but we still said, hey, let's do the play-by-play. He's all about it. So we will be there. The Give Us a Shot Network will be there. We will be doing the play-by-play. Some team members might even participate. We don't know. We got to figure out all the details, but we could not be more excited.
Yeah.
We're losing sleep over it already. We're just trying to think of like the best way to set up and sound check and all that other stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna bring our A game. I mean, this is gonna be. I'm already thinking of ways we could have different ball shots for family.
Yeah, it's all about the ball shots.
It's all about the ball shots.
When it comes to beer pong, typically it's about the ball shots.
It is about the ball shots, but our brains are going nuts and just trying to figure out what we're gonna do to make this an amazing event, and more importantly, all the money goes to the Tom
charity.
Server Field of Dreams.
Yes.
COVID hit. Everything is going up. Prices are going up. You see it in gas. You see it in lumber. So
Meat
have
prices went up.
the Field of Dreams, although it's completed, they have a lot of bills that need to get paid. So Todd and his team and us are going to help do that. So we've reached out to all of our sponsors, reached out to companies that we care about to get them a part of this. And I can't wait to announce companies that come in and on this podcast and people that are throwing money towards this support. We're throwing money towards this. If you have $1 to give, you should, especially if you live in New Jersey or if you have a child or ever experienced anybody with special needs. I mean, this facility allows children with special needs play any sport. Like, you can imagine it. Baseball, mini golf is there. There's just a plethora of things that a child can now do being included. Inclusion first is their motto, and I love that, and I believe every fiber in my bone is
Well, you think about
Right.
Here my take is you think about how important sports were when you were a kid. Now, if you think about yourself as a parent, what you basically have is an expensive world that you're already living in, and on top of that, instead of worried about paying for sports for your child to feel included, but then you might have a hospital bill or doctor bills that not a lot of people have because you have a child with special needs. You have specialist bills that come in, and there's so much turmoil and stuff going on with the world, and it all trickles down to where you don't want to be put in that position to where you can't provide for your child to do something fun, and that's where the Field of Dreams whole program comes into play, and that's exactly what we jumped on to help. So Todd and his whole crew, they do an outstanding job. So we are helping, and yes, it's celebrity beer pong. Yes, it's going to be a party. Yes, it's going to be a good time. But it all boils down to how much money can we raise. Now, this is Jack's Garage in Seaside. We've been there before.
For Polar Bear Plunge.
Ironically, for the Polar Bear Plunge. So not for beer pong, but it's a nice spot. It's going to be a really good time. Seaside in the summer. It's already going to be a blast regardless on what we do. So we will be posting more and more info. So check our social media for all of that. And then if you want to drop us a line, if you want to help contribute in some way, or if you just have questions about the event, let us know. Drop us a line and we will happily reach back out to you.
Yeah, we'll have the links in our bio. Also, if you want to participate, you got to do it soon because there's only 65 teams available. And last I checked, or last I was notified, they're going quick.
It is going quick.
Yeah.
It is. Which is good to hear. People are jumping on to support this in a good way. In a major way.
Yeah.
So, and when we got, we need to go to another baseball game, which we do have one planned for July.
Right.
I want to check out the Trenton Thunder.
Okay.
Their opening night was last week.
Yeah.
Trenton is not affiliated with anybody, but it's still a good ballpark. I think we definitely need to check that out. Reach out to some people there and do that.
Okay.
And then what we will do, guys, for your pure enjoyment is we will bring cameras with us the next time we golf, so you can kind of see exactly the level that we're at.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to tag Swing It and Ding It's for any pointers that they want to give us. Although I've seen some of those guys golf before, and I don't know.
They're amazing.
I don't know what
Yeah.
pointers they can give us other
Right.
than don't hit a support pole with your driver.
Yeah, Moose might end up on this live tour. I'm just telling you, like he's
So there's a lot there. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, did you read all the drama with that?
it's so much trauma.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
and I kind of get it. So the Live Tour, it's in London, I think, is where they're playing right now. But the
Right.
whole tour itself is backed by
Saudi
Arabian money
Right.
that comes from not, I guess, a good place. So PGA Tour is not having it. They basically kicked a whole bunch of guys off the tour that are playing in this Live thing. Those guys don't care because they're making more money and they have more freedom. by playing for this live tour. So they're like, whatever, we don't care. But it's this whole drama-filled fiasco that's just unraveling, and old guys like us are just kind of like eating it up. Like, what? This is our Jersey Shore right here. This is no, you hear the drama on this?
Because you never hear it in the golf world, other than Tiger Woods, and
that was the
his
only
personal stuff.
and that had nothing to do with golf. That was
Right.
just about the broads he was getting with, and him getting DUIs and stuff.
This is like WWE, like when AEW came in, you know, or WCW versus NWO. Like this is pretty epic. This is awesome for them, and you know, maybe it'll change the landscape of golf. And I want
some Happy Gilmore type, like, come on, let's make a little noise. Like, I want the fun golf event. I mean, they still have those, like the Pro-Am Tour and all that.
Yeah, but still, it's far and few too many.
Yeah.
But one more thing, I don't know if Germ's ready for this, but speaking of, we talked about the Celtics, and you know, Draymond Green has a podcast. It's an awesome podcast. However, one reporter decided to blame Green for the Nuggets losing. The Golden State losing. Jesus, jeez. And you know, it was kind of intriguing because it ended up becoming the biggest plug that you could ever imagine for Green's podcast.
1 second.
I was like, Navy's not there.
I completely.
It's okay.
Well, there's an ad on the.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Don't play the ad. We're not getting
basically-
paid.
No, we're not getting paid. And of course, the one clip that I do have is here we go.
I don't think the audio is working.
I didn't even notice it was on the TV.
It's not working.
All right, so we'll post the clip later to our social. No big deal.
You couldn't hear it?
Nah,
No. I checked on my phone too.
that could have been from our audio settings before, Germ. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, we're new, we're live, and we're just trying to make this thing work a little
Cool
bit
with
better.
it. I'm cool. So the thing I like about Draymond is the way he handles the media. He
love it.
Not only does he talk to the media, but then he actually reads what they write. He does his research, and then the next time the same person asks a question, he either commends them for what they wrote, or he goes after them for not writing the whole piece. And it happened 2 days ago after I think Golden State's first win of the series. He was asked a question, and he recognized the name of the person that asked the question. And he even said, I was looking at your name while you were asking me. I recognize you, and I appreciate that you do this, this, and this. And he's basically talking about comments he made. I forget if it was towards Kevin Durant or something. And just basically said, you know, you posted the whole thing instead of just taking a clip of that like most media does. And he commended him for so he reads what people write, which I give him credit, because if I was him, I'd be like, I would do my, you know, by contract, my media, whatever. And then I would just be like, okay.
It's tough because like on the flip side, you have like Kevin Durant on Twitter letting people know that sports radio is terrible.
I'm not saying it's why you struggle tonight by any means, but I found listening to your podcast recaps the last couple of games pretty interesting. Are you conscious at all of what you're saying about the X's and O's, the game plans, the adjustments could be making their way back to Boston staffers and influencing their decision making at all?
No. I don't say much different on the podcast than I say to you right here. So, nah. What's the X's and O's that I said on the podcast? You all right?
Yeah, actually, the only real thing I noticed that like really stood out, you talked about how to cover White, Smart, and Horford differently between games 1 and 2. That was really only.
Oh, yeah, that was just contesting shots. If that's X's and O's, then you reaching for something. It's all good, though. Keep going. Reaching heavy. The only thing, you find that they are taking X's and O's away from your podcast. Well, the only thing you said is White, Smart, and Horford.
I'm not trying to blow it up.
Nah, I mean you went for it, but
Yeah.
hey, respect. Appreciate the podcast promo you just gave me
got
though.
it, man.
The Draymond Green show. You next time just mention it that way.
You got it.
All right, man.
That is so great. I love it.
That's like the biggest FU, but like, hey, you're right. Thanks for shouting out my podcast. Check that out next time.
He's like, you went for it. Like,
he gave him respect. I like that sort of interaction with the media.
it should happen more.
It should. He basically called him dumb for asking that question, but he did it with a smile on his face to where no one could really get offended about it. So
Yeah.
he's not wrong.
Yeah, no, it's, dude, I think it's stellar. I think it's, he didn't get emotional. Like sometimes when somebody accuses you of that, it's hard to do that on the spot. So it just goes to show how well he responds to media, and he should, like, he should have a podcast. He should have, that after performing in a basketball game
Where he didn't play well at all.
Right.
Did not play well at all.
This kid asked him a question that's a little bit off the cuff that you could have answered and responded emotionally.
Right.
And not knowing and he just asked like, "Hey, what did I say then?" And the kid couldn't say anything.
I think that was the smartest part.
Right,
It's
right.
like that kid could have said the X's and O's, and Draymond could have basically just started talking about what he thought he was referring to, and completely blew something else. But instead, he's like, "Well, what are you talking about? Like, clarify." Because sometimes, like he said, you went for it. Sometimes what these media guys will do, or girls or women, whoever, they'll just say, "Hey, what do you think of X, X, and X?" and try to get them to say something that they weren't even referencing in the first
He wanted
place.
him to get heated. Like, you're worried about my podcast? Like, my podcast has nothing to do with this. Blah, blah, blah. I do my job.
Which is another reason why we need media passes. I can do such a better job asking better questions.
I want to, at the beer pong tournament, I was thinking about like all these lame questions and just have cue cards of it. Like, so tell me about that moment right there.
Yeah.
Like, was that?
How'd you get out of this slump?
During warm-ups, we noticed you were cringing. Like,
Pancakes or waffles?
like we'll just have random stuff. Like, talk me through what was going through your head.
Oh my God. Yes, I love that one. Talk me through what that moment was like for you.
Yeah.
What? I just had a walk-off. What do you think that moment was like?
Right. I like.
Well, I saw the ball and I hit the ball.
Corey, you just won the World Series. Like, what's going through your mind right now? Like, what?
So dumb,
It is
man.
dumb. It
Like,
is dumb.
why do you need to know? Like,
Right.
like especially in those moments.
But
like,
also, like, it doesn't happen to any other profession. Like, the dentist loses a patient. Like, tell me, what's going through your moment right now? Like, well, I'm a dentist. Nobody should be dying on my table.
I swear to God.
But it's just it's out of hand. Like, it's just out of hand, and they handle it well. And when I mean managers from baseball teams, coaches. And these players, like every
dude.
athlete has to go through this.
It's the media's job is to get at you, and it's like, come on, you're not cracking the Da Vinci Code here. You're not opening up Pandora's box and letting the general public in on any information that they couldn't automatically assume. You know what I mean? So the thought process behind whatever you're asking as a member of the media is not earth shattering. You're not TMZ. There's more earth shattering things that come from TMZ than it does from a post game press conference.
Yeah, it's way out of hand. And if you're tuning in right now, thank you. I know we've been away for a while. This is The Divide with Mike and Corey. We're excited to be back. This is our brand new studio. It's we're still moving in, so there's some things missing. There's some things that are here that shouldn't be here. We're talking about we got to rearrange the furniture, add furniture. But this will be where we do our show for the.
Keep in mind, guys, this is literally the same spot. It's just a facelift and a half.
Yeah, and on camera, like maybe you're like, oh, they got a new desk and microphones. Like, yeah, that's probably what it looks like. But you guys have no idea what we're looking at on the other end of this, and we'll show you. We'll do a studio tour and post it. But yeah, it's remarkable. It's a lot of fun, and we can't wait to continue to make content for the network, but also for our fans.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to continue to do, week by week. Everybody, you got anything else?
I got nothing. Germ, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's funny that the LIV, Matt says LIV turned Mickelson into Hollywood Hogan. It's just hilarious that the PGA, who itself has their own checkered, racist, not so fun, I guess, dirt in the closet, is condemning players
And sexist. Did we say sexist?
I mean,
too?
all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
and, less than stellar morality, but they're going to get mad at players for taking money, so they're going to ban them from their stupid tour, even though 90% of the fans only watch the majors, which the golfers are not suspended from.
Right.
And at the same time, where the U.S. Does deals with Saudi Arabia. Matter of fact, Saudi Arabia is our number one customer for military weapons. So, I mean, a lot of the people out there that are crying, clutching their pearls because golfers want to make a little bit of extra money, go kick rocks and pound sand in Saudi Arabia. Go pound Saudi Arabian sand. That's all I got for that.
Well, the other thing is, it's the only sport where if you notice a golfer did something wrong, you could call in and rat him out.
Oh, dude, it's
Like, that's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
So dumb.
That
Hey,
is
if you are a person on the couch and
They do
calls
it.
in because you are a special kind of loser.
Yeah.
There's something about that. And Corey, the earlier in the show, I didn't want to interrupt you guys because you were on a roll. You said, what is the thing that drives around and picks up golf balls? I too thought it would have a special name because, like, the Zamboni, like, I thought it would have its own thing. No,
Right.
sir, it is called the golf ball picker. That's what it's called.
It's not even
Or
called
the-
like, I would figure like a motor, like a rake or something. It's
No.
a golf ball picker.
Golf ball picker or range picker are the two acceptable names.
That's
what it is.
ridiculous.
That's
Way to phone it
so
in,
dumb.
golfers.
Yeah.
Like,
So dumb.
And the
Man.
PGA has the nerve.
even like what is the bullpen cart or whatever? Like, I guess that's kind of. There was a petition to stop calling it the bullpen too.
Why do people make the dumb? First of all, petitions are stupid, you guys. There's no petition that has ever ended anything.
Well, that Amber Heard's not in Aquaman anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but that
listen.
has to do with legal stuff. Like,
Right.
idiots,
Yeah.
stop sharing your stupid little online petition thing. No, we're not gonna save the Dolphins. Sorry, the Dolphins are dying. They're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
No matter what, no matter how many electronic signatures you collect. Just stop sending them.
Dude, yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. I'm not signing your petition. My signature on a piece of paper doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That means a bunch of people agree with you. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So the next time you petition for the show to go away, it's not gonna happen. It doesn't matter.
let's hope.
Let's hope that never happens. Play it out. We're not going anywhere.
We're not leaving.
We're not leaving. I'm not leaving.
We redid our theme
Hopefully our
song. I
disagreements
hope
one
people
day bring
notice.
us all together.
I kind of like it. It's more tame.
So corny.
Leo DiCaprio's done a lot of movies with Kate Winslet, I noticed. So they got
I
something
hope our
going on.
disagreements bring us together.
What? Just Titanic, though, I thought.
No, they had one where they he beat her and stuff. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty
I was like
bad.
the sequel to Titanic, like Jack Lives.
There was a lot of
You left me out.